The Elder Scrolls Online just dropped one of its most massive update streams ever for 2026. The chapter model is fully gone, and a new seasonal model of content updates is now here. We got a full roadmap for class changes and new content for 2026 and beyond, plus a lot more. It does seem like the new leadership team at ZOS has definitely been cooking for this coming year's updates, which is great to see. Speaking of which, I was given an early access preview to these updates by the ZOS team, so big thanks to them for that. But also, I'm just glad to see that the game has survived what was a brutal development year for the studio in 2025. With some fresh new leadership and perspectives now, I think the game is poised to be something great, and I'm excited to see where it goes in 2026. Also, heads up that some of the preview content I was given for this video may have changed slightly from the global reveal that we all just saw, but I'll also be posting tons of updated guides over on our website, that's hacktheminotaur.com, so check that out with the links below for the most up-to-date information. But like I said, the biggest news of all 2026 is that ESO's chapter model is now gone completely and has been replaced with seasons. The chapters, if you didn't know, were huge themed expansions, often taking up to 18 months to fully be developed behind the scenes, and that style of content cadence didn't leave much room for creativity and especially for player feedback or changes along the way. So this new seasonal model aims to fix all of that with shorter bursts of free content, with a new buzzword too that I've heard the team mention several times now, and that is co-creation with players. Now, basically, one of the new leadership team's goals is to create ESO along with player feedback and input, taking a bigger priority than it has in the past. Part of this, I think, is due to the studio shakeup last year and those leadership changes, but also with the seasonal or quarterly content releases being shorter, the team can now take our feedback more quickly and pivot what they're working on without being committed to those big, massive expansions, which they've had to do in the past. So I do like the shift in development. In theory, I think it'll be good for players and the game. We just need to see if ZOS can fully execute on these plans, because the problem never was planning or good intentions. It's always been about execution. But let's talk more about the new content model called Seasons. So Seasons are essentially content updates that will still arrive every quarter, but without the predictable format that chapter years have had in the past. If you've played for a few years, you already know what this looked like. You got a dungeon pack in quarter 1, followed by a chapter zone in quarter 2, another dungeon pack in quarter 3, and usually a story zone or something else in quarter 4. Well, Seasons won't have the same formula every time, and they will actually be a lot more experimental, which again, I like in theory. Seasons content will still involve telling stories and exploring new areas of Tamriel and beyond, which we know and love from ESO, but also gives the devs more flexibility to make the game more fun and also add updates, iterations, and improvements that players have been asking for. The key here that they brought up over and over again was variety and choice. And now another aspect of this, now that the chapter model is completely gone, is that new features that come to the game in the future, whether that be new classes, new systems, or whatever, those new features will actually be available to everyone for free as long as you own the game. One of the goals here is reducing the confusion about who can access what based on which chapters you've purchased in the past, which, gated you off from zones and classes and other features. So unifying ESO's content framework and making it easier to jump in and play is important, and that's another one of the team's goals now for 2026 and beyond. Now, before we get further, yes, there is a Battle Pass style component to Seasons that players can buy into if they choose so, because the game does have to make money and to continue to survive as an ongoing live service MMO. Basically, without chapter sales now, which were no doubt a big financial component of the studio's ongoing work, something has to take the place of that. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but in terms of content, as I said, for Seasons, this really can include anything and everything we could imagine, including new zones, new systems, even new classes. Nothing really is off limits, which I think is a great idea for the game moving forward. Now, along with the new Seasons announcement, we were also given a roadmap of sorts, which outlines the content coming to ESO each season in 2026, along with game improvements, class balance changes, and more. Honestly, the amount of new content here is a bit overwhelming, but I'll try to break it down for you as best as I can. So we start off with Season 0, which also comes with a brand new zone called the Night Market. More on this in a bit, but it's a special type of zone basically called an event zone. As I mentioned, Season 0 also introduces that new Battle Pass system, which is called Tamriel Tomes. It's also going to bring in new earnable rewards, which we can purchase with trade bars at a new location called the Gold Coast Bazaar. This season will also bring new PvP progressions, and what I'm actually looking forward to the most, that is new Overland difficulty options. Yeah, that's right, ZOS finally listened after years of this feature being requested by players, and they'll begin to implement an Overland difficulty system in 2026. Pretty pumped for that. You can also see, as part of the game's attempt to unify content across the board, that Orsinium, the Thieves Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, and Imperial City DLCs will get added to the base game at this time as well. But that's not all. Remember that the Seasons is just the new content, but ESO is also sticking to its quarterly update system with more base game updates, visual refreshes, balance changes, more. But we learned a bit about this previously in the class identity refresh article that the devs posted over on the ESO website last month. But we did get confirmation here that the Dragon Knight class will be receiving some major class updates and visual refreshes coming in March as part of Update 49, as the first class to be refreshed this year in 2026. We did get some previews of the new visual refresh coming to the DK class design, which does look pretty good, I think, and it's nice to see some of those original abilities actually get improved as well in terms of functionality. In addition to that, we learned that weapon skill lines will also be getting some updates too. We'll see this initially with some two-handed ability improvements and visual design upgrades as well in Update 49. Now, as mentioned, this work will continue throughout the year, likely into 2027 as well, with the next update, Update 50, in the summer, bringing a werewolf update as well as werewolf female model design and werewolf skill rebalancing. This should be really interesting. I am a fan of werewolf builds in general in ESO. There hasn't been much new there in quite a few years, so it's nice that they'll be getting an update as well. Quarter 3's combat update is going to dive into the Warden class next and refresh those skills and skill lines. And Quarter 4 of 2026 will focus on the Sorcerer class, with, again, the rest of the classes likely getting looked into during the following year, 2027. Now, in addition to these class and combat improvements, the team is committed to what they're calling player experience improvements. This is really big as well, as it seems like they're all in on addressing pain points or player requests for ESO. You can see here some of the examples of player experience improvements just coming with the next update in March being Update 49. This includes making more mounts available to purchase with in-game gold, improvements to vampire and werewolf cures and shrines, reduced bag and bank storage costs, hiding additional outfit slots like chest, waist, legs, hands, and feet, respeccing your skills and attributes now in the UI instead of through shrines, zone guide improvements, faster crafting research times, improved treasure map UI, faster mount training, increased furnishing limit and transmute crystal limits, as well as gaining experience for back bar abilities. That's crazy. I'm going to have to actually update all of my beginner guides to explain that one. So overall, this is really nice to see this type of commitment to improving the base game, particularly class identity via those reworked skills and especially visuals, and even getting some additional improvements for like weapon skills in werewolf. Hopefully vampire skills do get addressed at some point too, because I think those really need an update as well. Overall, it was just nice to see a full plan in place for the future. I do hope that the team sticks to their word when it comes to involving us as players, though, when it comes to these upgrades and changes. Will there be, ongoing discussions in different formats going over the class updates and what people want in terms of class identity? And will the team actually listen to PTS feedback and implement that before a patch goes live instead of waiting 2 to 3 patches later? That type of leadership shift is going to be big for many players who feel like ZOS has burned them in the past when it comes to their favorite classes and builds getting changed without listening to player feedback. Again, they've said they'll listen to players and actively seek that feedback moving forward, but this year will definitely be the test. Will they keep their word on that promise? We'll have to wait and see. So all the updates look great, but going more in-depth on some of those new systems, let's talk about Tamriel Tomes and the Gold Coast Bazaar. Tamriel Tomes, as I've said, is the new Battle Pass system coming to ESO. There are going to be 2 premium passes available for each season, which support the game. Remember, this replaces chapters, and ESO still has to monetize in order to keep the lights on. That is in addition, though, to the free Tamriel Tome, which is going to be available to everyone if you're not willing or not interested in paying into a premium pass. Now, some existing systems have been consolidated here in the new Tamriel Tomes, including endeavors and the daily login rewards. So hopefully there's less systems that you need to check and interact with every time you log in. I do like the streamlining here. Now, some additional info on free tomes versus premium tomes that I was given. With the free version, you do seem to get quite a bit just for playing the game, including new weapon and skill styles, crates, furnishings, and trade bars, which can be used in the new marketplace. Obviously, I think the pay tome is where we'll see some really upgraded cosmetics. They mentioned, for example, a new mount, which has unique day and night appearances, which is pretty cool. But then you have the Gold Coast Bazaar, which is the new marketplace where you can spend this new currency called trade bars. The store is dedicated to earnable rewards where you'll see things like past cosmetics come back, mounts, furnishings, and of course there'll be new items as well. Most items will be up for longer durations, like the entirety of a season or even longer. And the devs have mentioned that they don't want to promote FOMO, so even if an item leaves the bazaar, they can still come back. Also, I think it was mentioned at some point that event tickets are going to go away basically and be replaced with these trade bars as well, so you can see even more of a unification of systems, which I think is a good idea. Now, trade bars, which is that new currency I mentioned, are going to be earnable through the Tamriel tomes in all tracks, including the free and the premium tracks, so that all players can earn trade bars just by playing the game and then use them in the new bazaar to purchase any items that you want. Now, there's no cap planned for however many trade bars you can earn, and they can't be purchased either with crowns. We've also heard that there will be more than 100 items to purchase in the bazaar with the launch of the first season called Season 0, with more items to come. Now, for those of you with ESO Plus, we also learned that there'll be some additional benefits coming to your membership, some of which incorporate the new Tamriel Tomes system. This includes monthly tome points, which will unlock additional rewards through the tome itself, tome points earned at an accelerated rate, as well as one free premium tome every 12 months to use on any season that you want. And that's just new bonuses related to the Battle Pass system. There will be more in-game bonuses coming to ESO Plus as well that I heard about. Those include increased furnishing limits on some houses, though not all houses quite yet, increased transmute crystal limits, and increased antiquities lead time. That's above and beyond the new player experience improvements that were already mentioned, by the way. But also coming in 2026, we have the new zone called the Night Market, which is a, quote, event zone. This is going to be more challenging, more experimental type of Overland zone, which is generally difficult. It's going to be designed for groups, but you can enter solo as well. And the devs have said here that the increased difficulty will encourage grouping up, but that you don't necessarily have to. There are also multiple factions you can align with in the Night Market, as well as a new player home you can get access to. This will be attached in some way to the existing zone of Fargrave, so it does look pretty interesting, and I am looking forward to experiencing this one. Even beyond that, there's a lot more content coming in 2026 that we don't have all the details on yet, including new stories for the Thieves Guild and Sheogorath, a new trial, something new involving ships. There are some large-scale world events coming, multi-stage events, and yes, even solo dungeons getting added to the game, it seems, by the end of the year if this roadmap stays on track. So it really does look like ESO is back in 2026. Personally, I am optimistic, but also still a bit cautious. This is honestly a lot to promise players to accomplish in 1 year. Keeping in mind that this team has been hit with layoffs very recently and is also under new leadership. Now, I do really hope that they haven't overpromised here on what they can actually deliver on. In my opinion, it's always better to underpromise and overdeliver than overpromise and underdeliver, but we'll see how it goes. I think the plan is great, and if they execute on all the majority of these improvements, then I think ESO is in great shape moving forward. But if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and crush that like button so YouTube knows to share this video with others. Check out all our links below, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everybody, just a quick note that we are still rolling out members-only builds and guides for our Tier 2 channel members here called the Elite Squad, including our updated unkillable Magicka Arcanist. This one is all about mixing damage with insane survival. We're talking over 100k in active and passive damage shields so that you can survive anything that you need to solo. It's also extremely easy and fun to play without even requiring trial sets or mythics. And we now have a subclassing version for this one, mixing in some Magicka sorcerer abilities, which makes it even stronger. And that's just one of dozens of members-only builds and guides that you can unlock when you become a channel member. We also have the Stamina Necromancer Death Knight build, which combines massive AoE damage, healing, and sustain. The Golden Saint build for the Stamina Templar, which combines fire and holy magic. And the unique Druid build that I mentioned earlier, which is also incredibly strong and fun to play. All these builds offer truly unique and off-meta playstyles that basically feel like you're playing a completely new class in the Elder Scrolls Online. And if you'd like to support the channel, it really is the best way to do that because you get a truckload of bonus content, not to mention early access to videos and members-only Discord. Just make sure to select the Elite Squad option if you're interested. And to get started, click the join button down below or the membership link in the description to see our full list of members-only builds and guides. Huge shout out, as always, to our channel members who make this channel possible. Could not do what I do without you, so thanks again. Thanks to all of you for watching this video, and I will see you around in the next one.